Happy Friday and welcome to See You at USC. I'm your host, Mackie Kravitz, and tonight we have student activist Gaby Ury in the studio. It's going to be a record-breaking episode, so be sure to stay tuned. Welcome back to See You at USC. I'm sitting with Gaby Ury. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I know that you are a Guinness World Record holder.
Yes, indeed.
So that is pretty interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did and how you got there and your story?
Well, I hold the record for the longest abdominal plank for females, which is like the exercise they probably made you do in like gym class or yoga.
Yeah.
That people usually hate.
That people can usually only hold for like 20 seconds. How long did you hold it for?
An hour and 20 minutes.
Wow. That is that takes a lot of power and strength and core strength.
Yeah, I don't have that anymore, but like at some point I did.
When did you break this world record?
2 years ago for my 16th birthday.
Oh, on your birthday.
It was like 2 days after, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was like my Sweet 16 party.
Oh, that's amazing. And I know that you did it for a cause, and I want to get into that and learn more about what you kind of are an activist for.
Yeah, I did it partially to raise money for the Children's Hospital in Denver, and I set up a website where people could either like donate a set amount of money, or some people did sort of like a pledge. So for every minute they would donate $1 or something like that.
Okay.
And it actually, the story went a lot farther than I thought it did, and so did the website. So I ended up actually raising I think it's now up to $80,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all.
Oh my gosh. Just so people, was it like live streamed or? It
was live streamed. It was on YouTube. It was mostly, I made these videos beforehand, these like 2 to 3 minute videos that kind of went viral for a week or so. So like most people did not watch the entire thing because obviously I didn't even think it was interesting to watch me just, not lay there, but like plank there is not exactly the most interesting thing to watch.
Not the most entertaining.
It looks like the screen just paused. So most people just like watch those little videos or like read a news story on it.
Okay. And so I know that you kind of did the plank challenge as a way to overcome some of your own personal obstacles, and I wanted to learn more about that.
Yeah, so part of it was I just had an obsession with Guinness World Records. I think it started when I was like 10 or something.
Did you have the big book that you could buy at like the book fair?
Yeah, my grandpa would always get it for Christmas for me, so I have like a stack of those in my room back home. But really, it started off not as a way to like prove people wrong, but I was born with special needs. Like I'm missing some of my like muscles in my calves and abs, I believe. And so when I was like younger, there were like a select few people, and that was like always the problem for me, was that when people expected that I couldn't do something. So it's not like I go about life trying to like prove people wrong, but I like always had that in the back of my mind, like that I wanted to work a little harder to prove that like
of course
it wasn't like that.
The motivation.
Yeah, and I never had any problem with my special needs, and that was really the only thing that ever bothered me, was when people thought I couldn't do something. But my family, all my friends, like I'd say 99% of the people like did not care and were absolutely like wonderful and supporting. My parents would always let me try whatever like I wanted. My dad was a big rock climber, so I would go with him. That made my mom nervous, but she let me go anyways.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what other activities did you do to kind of get this sporty element?
Well, I actually discovered kind of this like weird knack for planking during volleyball tryouts for my school. I was trying out, I think it was the beginning of my sophomore year in high school, And part of the tryouts where we had this huge hill at my high school, and we had to run up and down, I think 3 times for like the mile run. And like running is one of the only things like really like affects my body. Since I don't have like calf muscles, it made it much harder, just like stamina wise. So I like explained that to my coach, and she's like, yeah, that's fine. We'll just have you do like the plank instead. So while my friends were running up and down the hill, I was just kind of there, and my coach had like set a timer and just told me to like turn it off when I had finished it.
You were done?
Yeah, and when all my friends came back, she came back and like, oh, like how many have you done? And it's like, I've just been here the whole time. And then she looked at the time and it had been 12 minutes. So I kind of realized that was like not the normal amount of time.
And that was in middle school?
This is my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
So that's when I kind of realized that this could maybe go somewhere.
So you already had like the core strength.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, my mom has a theory, like we have no idea why that's the case, that like since I'm missing some of the muscles, others have to like go further for it, and kind of like my body had just like trained itself, if that makes any sense.
Is it a deformity where you have extra muscle?
No, it's like I've under, what's the word? It's like they're underdeveloped.
Okay.
Some muscles, but like very few of them, but my mom thinks that like maybe others have to compensate for that. So I just had like really strong
power.
Yeah, I guess
strength.
so.
Have you attempted other world records like sit-ups or crunches?
No. I did try other records. They were like when I was like 10 or something. They were all kind of silly just because I really had this kind of lifelong dream of breaking a Guinness World Record. I didn't really care what it was. I tried longest like hopscotch course with my friend like up and down my like street. And
was
driveway.
It like windy,
it was, like windy.
Game board?
Yeah, I went around. I think we got to like 500 squares.
No way. We
spent like the whole day doing it.
Did you hop it? Okay.
And then I also tried most socks on one foot. I have like 2 older brothers, so I just like collected all of their socks and like just kept putting like one after another. So and like the socks got bigger. And
was there a strategy to the socks?
Yeah, I started with mine, of course, and then like I went to like my older brother and then my oldest brother, like so the socks just got progressively bigger.
But what about thickness? Like, did you do fuzzy socks?
I didn't like have enough time to prepare. If I had actually wanted to, I think I would have gone with like really thin socks.
Okay.
But I just kind of took whatever like sport socks.
It was kind of like a do it at home.
Yeah, no, it was literally like on
record.
a Saturday. I actually had to have my brother like come in because at some point like I had gotten all of them on, but at some point like I couldn't get them off because it was like so stretched out.
Oh my goodness.
So he came in. I like didn't really tell him what was going on. He just saw like one foot was like 3 times bigger than the other, so that made him nervous.
You just woke up one Saturday and was like, I'm gonna break a world record.
Yep.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
I do that. That's like a normal November 15th, you know?
So I didn't actually break any of them, like not even close, but like.
Do you know what the world record is for socks on your left foot?
At the time, I think it was like maybe 100 socks, I want to say. Probably someone has broken that by now because this was like when I was like 10. But you know what? Like it's a doable record if you want to like go buy some really thin socks.
If you're watching at home, this is a world record that you can break.
Yeah, you just need to get some like really thin like pantyhose. Like I think it works.
Oh, like the ones that they sell at Vans when you're like trying on shoes.
Yeah.
That is the key. But do those count as socks?
I don't know. I think you probably need to get that cleared by Guinness.
We'll have to see.
Be like, what defines a sock?
I love it. And now, Gabby, I also know that you did a TED Talk, which is super amazing and uncommon for a girl your age. So can you tell me a little bit more about that experience? Yeah,
so it was actually, I just got like my Facebook memories. That was like, I think 2 years ago on Tuesday. It was down in San Diego. My dad actually was doing one at the same conference, which was like, happened to be like a complete coincidence. And it was really fun. It was at the San Diego Symphony Hall. It was, I think there were 1,500 people in the audience.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, it was just a really like cool experience. I would love to do another one. Just 'cause it was a ton of fun, but yeah. So I'm curious because I watch a bunch of TED Talks. I think they're super cool. Do you have to memorize it all? Is there a teleprompter? No, you have to memorize it. You have to come up with slides. No, you really have to like be on a game. I think mine was like at 2 p.m. and they had all these kind of like orchestra practice rooms. So I just spent like from 8 in the morning to like 2 p.m. Like obviously I had practiced before, but I think I did like 15 times before I actually did it like just in that day. Yeah, so what was the prep like that for? Just I'd come home from school and just like again and again and again and again. And it did make it easier that like obviously I was talking about my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have, like, if I had forgotten it, I could have obviously like remembered the story and just gone with it.
Gone on a little.
But like it's a very
detour.
strict time limit too, so you have to have like everything written out, everything down to like the second.
So what age were you when that happened?
I was 16. It was like 6 months after, yeah.
Wow. Talk about a school project. Kids get like stage fright about doing like a group project in front of 30 people in their class, and you did a TED Talk in front of 1,500 people. That's amazing. Wow. What was it like with all that pressure? How did you cope with that?
I wasn't nervous until like the day of, and then, or actually about like 5 minutes beforehand, they have you like wait on the side, and the guy in front of me, I was watching it, and he had like this big like blow up globe, and he was like throwing it through the audience.
Oh my goodness.
And just like was really good. In that moment, I like, got really nervous, but then as soon as you walk on, you like can't see anything almost because like the lights, everything just kind of like went away, and you just have to go for it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that the guy before you was so professional and everything, because there's so much confidence that you need to get to do a TED Talk. And it's interesting because your story sounds like you always had this confidence and you had such a great support group. And I'm just really in shock I'm awed at how you overcame that, and I'm inspired, and I think you're great.
Thank you.
So tell me more about like your personal life and at home, and what was it like kind of overcoming these barriers? Like what was your support system?
Well, I have my mom and my dad, and then 2 older brothers. Well, like a majority of sort of like surgeries were when I was like really young, so like I almost think that helps because I have very little memory of a great portion of sort of like the tougher times. Obviously, my parents were not so lucky in that case. But by the time, this might sound odd too, like it all seemed kind of normal because I never knew anything different. So I had to wear like plastic like braces on my legs until I was like 8 or 9, and then I just like kind of told the doctor that like I was done with them, and he, as long as like he checked out, it was like totally fine. But that didn't seem like weird to me. Like until I went to school, I think I didn't realize that like
you were at a disadvantage.
Not everyone like had to wear those, but it's like I never really minded it. I just kind of, that was like how things were, and then there wasn't really anything I could do about it, so like there wasn't a point in complaining.
I love that. I think it's important to motivate yourself, and just when the going gets tough, the tough get going type of thing. So I love talking to you. We're going to get right back to this because we have to take a quick commercial break. But when we get back, we'll be talking more about planking and movies and all things Gaby. So be sure to stay tuned. Welcome back to See You at USC. I'm here with Gaby, and we were just talking about how she is a Guinness Book of World Record holder, and I want to ask you, what has become of that? What was kind of the aftermath of that? Have you gotten any international experience from that?
Yeah, so I hadn't like really thought about what was going to happen. Like for me, that day was sort of like end game. But my brother's really into like all the techie stuff. So he sort of like wrote a press release and like put it out there, and the story kind of went viral for like a week. So I started getting like interview requests from like all over. I actually got like the official certificate on Good Morning America, which was really exciting.
Wow.
They like flew my mom, my brother, and I out, and it was really exciting. They like wheeled me out, like planking.
That wasn't awkward.
No, of course not. They did like the interview planking. I was actually really impressed.
Oh, wow.
The host, Laura Spencer, was like in heels. So that
And she was planking.
Yeah, no, it was one of the most impressive things I've seen. Like, she had stamina. And yeah, so I got to do that. There was a TV crew from China, which apparently the plank is really popular in China, which I guess makes sense. They don't have a lot of room for like PE classes in schools, so they kind of just like all plank and like do sit-ups kind of like in their own little like squares. So apparently that's a huge thing there.
So the Chinese have like tight cores.
Apparently. So they like flew all the way to my house in like Colorado and like brought this whole like film crew. It was like very confusing for me, but it was a lot of fun. So I think it's actually really funny. Sometimes I'll get like Facebook messages from these like random Chinese people like saying like, oh, like we'd like to learn how to do the plank. And it's like very random.
Wow, you're
like
kind of like a plank prodigy in China.
You know what? That's what they call me. No, I have no idea.
Maybe you could start a workout series.
Yeah, it's just like in China. That'll be my career. I'll be the Chinese like plank fitness person.
It's kind of like a Jillian Michaels deal overseas.
Perfect.
I love it.
My dream.
Sorry, go on to China coming to your living room.
Yeah, no, it was like super random. They wanted to interview my friend, so like I went and got her, like picked her up, and it was like a very like surreal experience.
Yeah, I mean, not having that kind of exposure and then getting it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was like, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was like a lot of fun. It was actually really strange. For like a week, I would always go down to Denver, like do an interview, like a morning show, and then go to school. And then my brother was in charge of like all the media stuff. He like took it on. I don't know. And he texted me, and I was like in the middle of English class. He's like, "Do you want to go to New York, or like what are you doing Monday and Tuesday?" And I was like, "I have school." He's like, "Well, do you want to go to New York?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Well, they want you to be on Good Morning America." So like it was very random and surreal. And then
it really sounds like it was a family effort here.
It really was. Like my family's very involved. They were all very excited. My other brother got like a cake made with like me planking
with the dog on top, right? Yeah.
That's my dog. My dog actually. It was whenever. I think she knew I like couldn't move, so whenever I would be like practicing at home, she would just kind of come in and like go weaving in and out of like my legs and like my arms, like bring me like tennis balls to like throw.
Oh,
it was
it's
really
like
cute.
You're playing fetch with your dog, but the dog's fetching and you're throwing. I guess it's the same thing.
And she would like come lick my nose. She would take full advantage.
Was that distracting or was that
comforting? She was not there during the actual event.
No.
Like no, she's not gonna mess anything up. Yeah, it was very like surreal. And then obviously like a few months later, I got to go down to San Diego and do a TED Talk, which it was really fun, like to get kind of these like breaks of like extraordinary experiences. And then I got to go home. Like I think the day after Good Morning America, I went home, like went to prom, like very like
just a casual, normal childhood.
Yeah, it was very weird. And then actually a year after the playing, I got to speak at a conference called We Day. It's sort of like these stadium-sized events, and their kind of motto is you don't buy a ticket, you earn one. So to earn a ticket to this conference, you have to do a year-long community service project, both globally and locally.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a celebration of that. So they have kind of like very, very famous singers, like Macklemore was at the one I was at, and like speakers, like other teen speakers, because it's all for high school students. I think like Shay Mitchell was at the one I was at. And then like more normal high schoolers like me. So that was a lot of fun. I got to speak at a stadium. I think it was like 17,000 high school students.
And they're all people that have given a year to communities. Wow.
So it was like these really random but awesome experiences. And then the next day I went home and like took the SAT. It was just like so random.
That's a downer.
Yeah, it really was.
On cloud 9 and then the SAT. Yeah. Not so great. But these experiences sound so unreal. I know that you went to Thailand for a little bit.
Yeah,
Can you tell me more about that?
That was for a community service trip. It was a lot of fun. I met some of like my best friends there. We still have like a group chat. We worked, I think at that point I was like interested in maybe being a doctor or something. So like we worked in like medical clinics, doing diabetes testing because apparently they have a huge diabetes problem in Thailand because of all the rice they eat, which I had no idea. And that was really fun. So I spent, I think, 3 weeks there doing that.
Wow. And you mentioned before that, Thailand, you went to do community service and you wanted to be a doctor. And and with your disability, being in doctor's office all the time, like what inspired you to want to be a doctor?
Yeah, well, that ended really quickly after I saw Grey's Anatomy. I was like, you know what, this looks like too much work. I am not that into biology. But I think one of the things that growing up was like, my parents thought like, oh, maybe she'd want to like help other people. But you know what, I'm done with doctor's office, it's fine.
You're done.
I don't need it.
After seeing the blood and Grey's, you're like, nah.
Yeah, exactly. And now I see like all these pre-med students, like, I am glad I am not you. Like,
well, I think it goes without saying that I think you saw the passion that people have as doctors as like giving to others and wanting to be able to help. And I think that goes along with your activism in the Plank Challenge and everything like that. And I know that you're at USC now as a film student.
Yes.
So are you going to use any of your previous experiences into film, or do you have any plans for that?
I have kind of this dream. My family's like very like wacky. My mom is essentially, how I describe her is she is, do you know Modern Family?
Yes, I do.
She is Sofia Vergara, like,
oh.
She's like Brazilian and is very like loud and animated and yells and like my friend literally calls her Sophia because of that. She is like Gloria. It's really funny. Like all my friends call her Sophia because of that. She like came and like wanted to be added to my like Flora's like group chat.
Oh my gosh.
And all these things. And so my family's like very wacky. So I have kind of the stream of like making a TV show about them, but also incorporating kind of like the special needs aspect to show that like, you know, it's like something that is part of you, but like it's completely normal because, you know, we have every sort of character on TV now, but very limited like special needs characters. And I think a lot of like, even if there is one, it's like the story centers around that, but I would want to almost like that's a part of it, but you know, it's like just like if someone's gay or lesbian, like that's not the story, but it's
that's
part
just
of it.
like a little embellishment, you know?
And I think TV has a lot of power, so.
It's funny that you bring up Modern Family because that is what we like view as a typical like American family. And I love what you're saying of bringing in different types of characters and adding that. Is that what you're focused on, more TV? And
I'm a big fan of TV. Like, I love movies, but I think it's quite incredible when like a TV show can keep going for like 8 or 9 years, and if every episode is like, I think, like quality, I think that's so much more impressive than making like a 2-hour film.
What are some of your faves?
TV show wise?
So, yes.
Always Friends. Always.
Oh, classic. Friends is another example of what we think is like a typical, like New York City, like young adult scene. So yeah, I love your ideas.
Friends is a great one. I just finished a show called Lie to Me.
Never heard of it.
It's about a like basically human lie detector. He goes and it's based on can't remember. I think it was like maybe President Bush's press secretary, maybe. And they like he's a human lie detector. He goes in and he teaches like micro emotions. You can see like as the person is lying or like right before as they respond, just like the tiny little movements in their face, and it's based like on like real.
Oh, it's based on a true event?
Yeah, it's like based on true events, and so it kind of like doesn't teach you, but it like you can see tiny little movements that teach you like if a person's lying or
so
not.
It's a little bit of psychology.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Huh. Yeah. What channel is it on, or like what network?
I want to say ABC, but I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll look into it. We'll all look into it. So, as a film student at USC, do you have, and obviously you're a freshman, which is super exciting. Do you have anything that you want to look forward to, or what are you excited about?
I just want to get into my production classes. Everything, like the school's amazing, and I just want to get started.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Gaby, for being on the show. You've been an excellent guest.
Thank you for having me.
I do have one last question, though.
Yes, of course.
If you had to give a student or anyone one word of advice, because you are such a motivated, inspirational person, what would it be?
Like, don't underestimate yourself, because trust me, I had no idea that any of this was going to happen.
All right, I love it. Thank you so much, Gaby.
Thank you.
And be sure to watch See You at USC every weekday at 6:30 here on Trojan Vision. Have a great weekend.
You're watching Trojan Vision. For more of your favorite shows, check us out at trojanvision.com and like us on Facebook.